What's going on, YouTube? Sorry, got a little bit of burpy burps. Coffee's a little strong this morning. Good morning, man. Happy to be here. Happy to see you guys. So we're gonna be tattooing today. Today's gonna be a lot longer, I think, of a stream, just because yesterday was a bad day for me. But not in a super upsetting way. Just my day got thrown off from the beginning, and I tried my best to recover, finish out the day good, which I did. I mean, finished up the house, cleaned it, got it prepped up for today, got the workstation prepped for today. So when I woke up, took the dog out, boiled the water, made my eggs, made my coffee, and then I was in here. So all in all, yesterday was it was testing, but that's what life's about. So yeah, man, yesterday was so much fun with the lines. I had kind of an epiphany yesterday doing the line work and thinking about it going back. And I could say that I was really, really like scared of going through the fake skin, right? Now I have a plastic table underneath it, and so you'll hear if I break through and it hits the table, it just gets a little bit louder. But if I were to do it on this table, where it's a little more solid, I don't know if I would have nearly as much noise resonating out of the table because of the machine vibrating when it's on the skin. So, that taught me immediate confidence in my own work. Like, I've always struggled with confidence in just doing what I need to do the right way. I should say that came out wrong. Something that I'm new to, I'm extremely uncomfortable doing it the way I know needs to be done, the right way, right? I'm always afraid of making the mistake. I'm always afraid of the fallout, the downfall, the bad aspect to whatever it is I'm doing. I don't like being bad at stuff. Like it's a disease. There's no other way to describe it. If a disease is something that can kill you, then the way I would manifest my thoughts was destroying me inside, because I was so afraid to try. If I didn't have any inclination that I was going to be good at it already, I wouldn't do it. And then, like, this tattoo situation has been really kind of it's gonna go down as one of those things that in life I look back on and it's like, I never thought I would have grown so much from learning a tattoo. And it's kind of weird. Yes, it's only been day one. But I've been struggling with a lot of stuff in life, and I spent the last 2 years in therapy trying to unprogram some shit. And one of those struggles that I've always had has always been confidence. I never have had it. Going back as long as I can, I will say that confidence, in my understanding, is being, it's how do I say this? So as a sawyer, right? I went to school to learn about chainsaws and how to run them. Like, legitimately went to Job Corps, into the forestry program, and I didn't give a fuck about anything else except for chainsaws. Dead ass serious. So chainsaws are really kind of a special place in my heart. I really enjoyed them. I wish the school would have actually taught us how to break them down, though, the motors, and rebuild them. That's one thing that we didn't get into, but otherwise, I love chainsaws. I'll fucking make a chainsaw work, boy. As long as it's not the internal, I'll fix it. So yeah, I always had confidence with my saw work, right? Because it was something that I wanted to lean into. I was like, nah, I got this. Like, at first I was like, oh no, right? But with chainsaws, it's a lot more forgiving. It's scary, but it's a lot more forgiving. If you have a sharp chain, and you set it on a log, and you tap the throttle, and you got a good grip, it's just gonna. That's a good saw. A good saw should go right through whatever you're cutting with its own force without you having to push. That is a good sharp chainsaw. You should be throwing out fucking chips that look like fucking confetti. If you're not, fix your shit. Facts. So, growing up with the chainsaw, this is about confidence, trust me. With the chainsaw, I was pretty damn confident because I knew I wanted to go that route. With this tattooing, I didn't know I wanted it. I bought it because I saw it on Amazon. I was literally I looked down Amazon, and for some fucking reason, this was what popped up as you might be interested. And, well, fuck me, I was. So, I purchased it, and the goal... Hold on, my nose is running. Give me a sec, guys. Woo. Weather shit. You slime boogers. That fucking sucks. Weather's changing, so my allergies are a little bit touchy. It's getting colder. Alright, so this popped up. I bought it. And when I purchased this, my intent was like, I'm not tattooing anybody. I don't want to be that guy. I'm not buying this because I saw this guy make money, which, for the record, I've done a lot of things in life based on I can make money that way. This was the first purchase, I think, in a really long time that I purchased it without the intent of making money off of it. It was really just a purchase for me. And the reason why is because I want to tattoo my fingers. I've got probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 or 9, maybe even 10 different artists on my body, and I've only got like 14 tattoos. So I mean, Sonny by far is the best tattoo artist I've worked with, hands down. The man's busy as shit. He now has his own shop. Again, I think he used to run a shop, I know that, but I think he's now, well, I know he is the co-owner of this shop now, which, fucking A boy, I really want that shop to take off and be successful. I always thought that you would be able to turn that shop around and make it what it needs to be. He's just a real good. He's just extremely knowledgeable. I think he's got like 20-something years in the business, but he's not a prick, and that's the craziest shit. Like, he doesn't walk around like a badass biker, right? He's not like, you're here for a tattoo. Sit down. This is gonna hurt. Yeah, fuck off, dude. Like, shut up. Like, Sonny's not that guy. Sonny is like, what's going on? Give me a hug. You know, and I love that, you know, and that's kind of the vibe of the shop that we used to go to. And so Sonny taught me a lot, not because I was apprenticing under him. Like, I was never a tattoo apprentice under him. I happened to have just sat by him and watched him for hours on hours tattooing people, watching how he sets up. And he is an incredible artist. So I wasn't trying to emulate him and his work for the sake of making money. I'm now doing this for me, but I want my skill level to be nice, right? Because I wanted, so I promise this all makes sense. So I wanted my hands to be done. And I wanted Sonny to do my hands, but Sonny's extremely busy. He's a very good tattoo artist, so it's really hard to get in touch with him and get a reply and set it up. And it's just not easy. He's got a lot going on. So like, fuck it, I'm gonna get a tattoo gun. I know what I want to tattoo on my fingers, which are just runes from like Viking culture. Just easier to say that way. So it's like what I got right here, you know. So I'll get some runes and scaves, whatever, on my fingers. And for me, it's very much protection. There's a lot more to it. And so that's the only reason I got these, was to really to just tattoo my fingers. I wanted to repair my wedding ring because it's a little bit blown out. But really, that was it. Excuse me. You see all that fucking bubble flowing? Yeah. So yeah, that was why I purchased this, right? That was the why. And you have to have a why. You have to have a why when you start something. Why did you purchase this? Well, I purchased it because I wanted to tattoo my fingers. For the first time in a while, I purchased something without intentionally trying to make money off of it. And the reason why I say this is because there's a ton of dog shit tattoo artists out there. I'm dead ass serious. There are tattoo artists out there that would be extremely proud of that line and be like, yo, that's $50. I've been tattooed by those people. And this is my 9/11. This is going to actually be my American sleeve right here. I'll actually back up a little bit so you guys can see. So, this has been a work in progress because it's been kind of fucked up by a couple of people. So, originally I had a Fox Racing head right here. You can kind of see it a little bit still. You can see the F right there. And some of the tribal right here on the back, that black spot. So I had a Fox Racing head. You can kind of see a little bit of the Fox head right there. Right? I was like, well, that was a young, dumb decision. And I always wanted to have a 9/11, my 9/11 piece right here. And then I wanted to have the Iwo Jima Marines raising the flag right here, because I felt like these two pieces really kind of it bridged the gap between two generations, right? Pearl Harbor, World War, and then the whatever the fuck we're calling the war that took 20 years and is still shit show over there. But yeah, so this has had, I think, 3 different artists on it now, and it's just taking so long to try to get this done, right? And then all the dead space that you're seeing in between the mural pieces is going to be the American flag, right? And then up here, you got the start of the American flag. I've got my Minuteman holding the sniper rifle, right? And as you can see, look. You guys can see some of my poor tribal stuff that from a tattoo artist I thought he was good. So you see what I'm saying? Like, those are lines that not great. And I paid for those, thinking that I was getting a deal. So going into learning how to tattoo, I sure the fuck wasn't gonna do it for the purpose of making money. Wanted to do it for myself. Wanted to learn a new skill. And if I get to a point where trusted tattoo artists I believe in were to sign off on my skill, then I would consider tattooing other people. But not until then. Like, I wouldn't even tattoo my wife. Like, if she was like, yo, I want a tattoo, which she doesn't. But no, like, friends, no, not doing it. It's not, my tattoos are not going to be something you want right now. You know, I get it. Pain, ink therapy, all that stuff. Totally get it. But if I'm not tattooing myself yet, you guys shouldn't be getting tattoos from me, So that's just kind of putting that statement out there from day 2. This is not in any way, shape, or form to make money, to take away from the industry. This is me just learning something new, having fun. I have the equipment to record it, to create content for you guys, to show you the struggles that I came across that you might come across if you were going down the road of becoming a tattoo artist, right? Like, I bought the kit. Well, shit, I don't got my green soap, I don't got my spray bottles, I don't have saran wrap, I don't have boxes of gloves, I don't have Vaseline. What I used yesterday was petroleum jelly. That's what we had, and I thought they were the same. They're not. I don't think they are. Maybe they are. I don't know. Probably should read the label a little more. It just seemed like it was the same thing, so that's what I used. So right off the rip, day 1, I wasn't set up for success, right? I don't have a stencil printer. There's a lot of things I don't have in order to get started. LP, I see you. Just know I saw you when you came in here literally 10 minutes ago. Love you, bud. LP is my dude. He's my first mod on the channel, man. He's a real motherfucker. He always pops in, even if he's not gonna watch, because you know, not everything's entertaining. The motherfucker still pops in and says hi, and that's important. That shit's really important. So, LP, doing his thing. So, yeah. Today, what we're gonna do is we're gonna be watching. Ta-da! Sorry, guys. I had all this stuff shut down because it was eating up processor time yesterday while I was trying to play some games. My nose won't stop running. So, alright. Yep, there's wifey. So the video that I have up right now is something I came across last night. And I thought it was extremely important because it really was along the lines of what I was trying to do. And that is establish your voltage to your cartridge to your hand speed. I want to just, whatever is giving me fucking heartburn and indigestion, cut that shit out, put it in a fucking bucket. I don't care. I want it to be gone. I hate this. Like, I want to be able to just talk without fucking, like I'm fucking dying. God. So, anyways, I found this video to be extremely helpful. And so we're going to watch it together today. Then I think there's another video I wanted to look at with you guys, and then we'll get into tattooing. So yeah, let's check this out.
And I appreciate it. Today I want to go ahead and take some time and touch base on matching hand speed with voltage, and basically show you all the importance on doing this. This technique, or basically whatever I'm about to touch base on here in this video, is important to pull great saturated lines. And on top of that, knowing voltages and hand speeds is crucial to different techniques as well, like pepper shading, for example. So I'm going to go ahead and touch base on all of that here, and we're going to go ahead and proceed accordingly. So let's just dive into it. For this demonstration, I'm going to be using this 11 round liner. I believe this is going to be a big wasp needle cart. This is my least favorite needle, just because of the build of it, the skeleton, I guess, the shell of the needle I'm not really a fan of. But nonetheless, we're going to go ahead and use this cart to demonstrate, simply because this is a demonstration. 11 round liner, as you saw right there, and I'm going to be using my CNC WE truly wireless tattoo machine. I'll go ahead and put the description for this product right here down below, and I'm going to go ahead and put the card in there. So basically, the importance of matching hand speed to voltage comes into play, because if your speed is too low but you're moving too fast, then you're gonna have to like double, triple take on your lines. Your lines aren't gonna be saturated. It may look scratchy or choppy. If your speed's too high and you're moving too slow, then you're just gonna leave scarring. When the tattoo heals, you're gonna feel all types of weird textures that shouldn't be there. So you gotta get it just right. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn on the machine.
I'll be right back, guys.
And
What's up, guys? Sorry. And we're back in it. That was the wife. She's out of town, so when she calls, we pick it up and we talk with her. Gotta take care of the family. Alright.
Push the needle in all the way. So I'm just gonna go ahead and leave it as is, and I'm gonna demonstrate voltages with hand speed. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do is I'm gonna take this all the way down to the lowest setting here. And I'll go ahead and this is gonna be at 5 volts if I am correct. And I'm gonna go ahead and put some ink into my cart here, or into my needle. As you can see, so we have ink here. Now, what I'm gonna go ahead and do is I'm gonna show you all what it would look like if I'm moving too fast for this specific voltage. So this is a pretty low voltage. If I'm correct, we're at 5 volts. And I'm gonna go ahead and pull a line, and I'm just gonna move quickly. All right, let's do it over here.
So real quick, there's two things going on here that you won't see on my setup. Okay, there might be more than two things. But anyways, so underneath the blue paper towel, he has cellophane wrap on stuff, and that's practicing good bloodborne pathogen practices, right? I don't have that. I will have that. I'm not tattooing on anybody. But just know, you should always set up your station, even if you're just training, just as you would if you were going to tattoo on someone. Practice how you train. Or train how you fight. That's what I was going for. Train how you fight. So practice how you perform. It's that simple. If you want to be a better performer, then you need to get those reps in practice. I know it sounds kind of crazy, but I feel like the world we live in has lost common sense, and there's people out there that need to be told, you got to put the practice in if you want to get better.
I'm not sure if you all can see it up there. I'll go ahead and bring the camera down and do some different angles here shortly. Let's go ahead and pull this one here though. Okay, so as you saw there, I went ahead and I put the needle in and I just pulled a line. But if I go ahead and pull this up close here, as you see, nothing really stuck.
Alright, so see that right there? That looks really similar to my first ones, right? Which are these guys. See here. Well, here. So between these fingers right here, up in the top. Those are my first few passes. So.
The lines are not saturated. It's a very, very light line. It almost looks like there's a pencil. It almost looks like a pencil drew this on there. If this was on human skin, that may completely fall out. So that's not good. That's not where we want to be. If we did it on a human skin just because we didn't know what we were doing, then we're gonna have to double, triple pass on it, possibly scarring the skin. So that is not good. For the lower voltage, what I'm gonna go ahead and do, it just seems natural to slow my hand speed down, so that way the needle can penetrate and put and you know, input the ink into the skin correctly, as opposed to, like, you know, putting it chopped. So let's go ahead and do that. And again, we're at the lowest setting that this machine can go, which is 5 volts. We're still at the 5 volts. I'm gonna go ahead and pull a slower line and try and match my hand speed to this specific voltage. So I'm moving a lot slower, as you can see, allowing the needle to do what it actually needs to do. I'm gonna go ahead and get some Vaseline and clean this off here. So bear with me as I do that. And as you can see, at that 5 volts, we pulled a nice saturated line, moving really, really slow. That first line, as you can see, we went really, really fast. Let me pull some up close lines here of me moving too fast for the voltage. See, that's too fast. That's not, even that's too fast. That's not what you want to do. You can almost see the dot work.
So if you see his line that he said was really good and strong, right? That actually looks more like the shade lines that I did right here, up here at the top. But the cartridge he's using is actually more of these lines right here. But this one, I blew out right here. That one I know I went through. But there's no skin trauma, right? And so, like, that's the craziest part. Like, I'm going to try to hold this up here. Actually, I'm going to turn this light on because it will make it a little bit brighter in front of the camera. Alright, so, you can see right here, there's no trauma. Like, that would be splitting apart right now. Like, I'm pushing on the back right here. Like, just right there. You're not seeing that skin splitting apart. So what that tells me is that I might have been onto something. Again, haven't gone to any type of training, so understanding where the needle needs to hit the skin, which is a video I think we're going to watch next. It explains where it needs to be, and that's for setting your needle, hanging it out, doing all that stuff. I've been around a tattoo shop enough, multiple shops, and I know what things look like and need to look like, but I do not understand how they function and the proper way to set things up. I am a master at emulating success without being able to provide you an explanation to what the fuck is going on. Big facts on that. And so this is trying to change that cycle. I'm recording this as I learn, which means I'm going to fail in front of all of you. And I've been absolutely terrified of failing my entire life. So who would have thought tattoo guns would have been the one thing that would teach me confidence? Let's get into it.
Within the lines right there being done, as you see right here, this is choo-choo fast. For this specific speed, this is right around where you're going to want to be.
Also, I want to point out, see how far his needle is, right? Like, see if I can, I can't put my finger on the screen to show you, but my cursor is right here by the needle. So, this spot right here, how much he has hung out right there, that's because he's riding it on his finger. His finger is creating that space, and he knows exactly where or how deep that needle is going to hit inside the skin, which is extremely thin. I mean, it is really thin. So, pay attention to every little detail. Like, this is the stuff that's really important. So, finger, he's using that to create separation between the skin. That way he can hang the needle out. This way, he can actually, he doesn't have to stop, adjust the gun. Machine. It's a machine, not a gun. So, adjusting the machine, he doesn't have to stop and twist it, right? He literally could just be like, well, and go a little deeper, right? Little deeper. Because he can do light shading, which is the tip of the needle, or he could really kind of set a line all with that. I don't know. So that's the difference between a good artist, I think, in my opinion. Someone who rides the cartridge versus someone who floats the needle. Sonny floats that motherfucker. Sonny, man, like, I swear, I admire the way Sonny does his work. The man just really enjoys it. He's just, I haven't ever seen a tattoo artist that really kind of is like, he just loves it. He really just loves it. And this is cool. So, and I understand why. I went to bed thinking about tattooing. And I almost got up just to run some offline lines, you know? But I only got 2 sheets of practice skin. So, be conservative.
allowing the needle to actually input the ink into where you're trying to get it into. So let me go ahead and wipe it off. Forgive me for putting the phone down there. So you can see another saturated, beautiful line. The voltage was too low, the hand speed was too fast for these specific lines. Let me go ahead and show you all what it would be like to have a machine that's running too high in voltage and that's moving too slow. Let's go ahead and see if we can actually, I guess, mimic the damage here that would happen on the skin. So I'm gonna go ahead and fire up this machine, and I'm gonna put the voltage all the way up. So we're on the first setting, second setting, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. Let's do the seventh setting here. And I'll go ahead and put it in the description below what voltage we're at right now, because I don't know off the top here, forgive me. So let's go ahead and try and mimic the damage that we would create if the voltage is too high and we're moving too slow. You can hear it, it's just chopping it up. That's too much time over the skin on one part, because the needle's high in voltage is moving way faster. Now keep in mind, this is silicone, so the damage done on here versus human skin is going to be different. But if this was done on an actual human, the damage would have been immense there. It would have tore that skin up. I mean, you heard it. The table was rattling. The line looks nice, don't get me wrong, but this may have been blown out. Or when it, even worse, when it have healed, it would have had a texture. You would have felt like a little bump when you pass your finger over that line. We never want that. We want the tattoos to feel as if they're a part of the skin when we're done. And that's how you know we did a good job. But that's basically what it would look like as well, to have a voltage that's way too high, moving too slow. So matching voltages with hand speed is very important. Find a voltage that's comfortable for you. So for me, let me go ahead and turn this back on. Maybe like right around here. So from the first setting, right around here, this is where I'm comfortable. This is basically where I would have my voltage always, because this is just where I'm comfortable at. Again,
so he's explained high and low voltage at max, right? I can't remember right now if he's going to tell you where this is roughly, but what I've done is I've tried to match the sound. Oh, what up, Traps? Thanks, man. Appreciate you, big dog.
everyone's different. Some people pull lines at 9, some people pull lines at 8 volts, some people pull lines at 10. Everybody's different, but for me, this is probably around 7.5 if I'm correct.
How far I need
But this is where I feel comfortable pulling the lines at, and that's typically where I've always pulled lines. You know, 7.8. I rarely go up into the 8 volts upon pulling lines, but yeah, as you all can see, another great line there. That's crazy, the damage done when I had a higher voltage, and how the line.
All right, so check us out. You can actually see it right there in that shot. So as someone who just started, I was like, why in the fuck am I not getting solid black lines when I'm doing swirls and I'm going slow, got my voltage right and all that stuff? Look closely. His good line has those lines in it. That being said, you shouldn't have those, I don't think. Again, don't know. Right? We're just doing this together, but for the sake of as you begin, that would be what you're looking for to replicate, right? As a beginner. And then we'll figure out more to making that line a little bit more full and packed down the road. But for the sake of the line, that's what we're looking for, and that's what we're going to be going for today.
Looks different from just that higher voltage versus a comfortable voltage that I'm comfortable with. So you can see the importance of matching hand speed with your voltages. This is not something that I can teach you, but I can bring awareness on the different aspects. I could bring awareness on, you know, what to look for, what's too much, what's too little, and I hope I did touch base on that well enough here for you. I can go ahead and show you all here what too fast is with this hand speed real quick, just to shed some light and cover that ground. So we're at 7.5 volts if I'm correct. See, so that may be too fast, and realistically I've never pulled a line that fast on anything or anyone. That's just kind of ridiculous. So yeah, again though, nothing really caught. That's not how I want to be pulling my lines. I want my lines to come out first try, ideally like that one right there, the one, that saturated one right there that's showing. I think a good exercise that you can practice to get better at hand speed and voltage is to don't be afraid to make those apparent mistakes. So don't be afraid to go too fast so you can see what it's like to move too fast. Like don't be afraid to make those mistakes. Don't be afraid to go too slow. So yeah, like you guys can mess around and see, and especially like when you're using these practice skins, and do this on a practice skin. Do not practice this on a human unless it's yourself. But even then, you shouldn't be practicing this on yourself. Practice this on a practice skin, not on a human, because you are going to make mistakes. What I'm encouraging you to do is to get a practice skin and make these mistakes. So that way when you're tattooing, you're very familiar and you know what to look for. Like it's not a guessing game. You build that confidence, you build that awareness on what you're doing, so that way you knock these tattoos out. These look nice on practice skin, but if this was real skin, that would have been eaten up. But yeah, that's a good practice. Don't be afraid to make these mistakes. Go ahead and pull some lines where you're moving too fast. Try all different voltages. Mess around, you know, with the voltage range that your tattoo machine provides, and don't be afraid to, you know, try new things with it. Make sure that you're comfortable. Make sure that you're pulling these lines correctly. Again, guys, I can't exhaust how important voltage and hand speed are. But yeah, I hope that I can help you all shed some sort of light on, you know, voltage and hand speed. This is not something that I can teach you. I can't tell you to put your voltage at 7.5 and run a line, because upon doing that, you may not feel comfortable moving that slow. You know, pulling that line, you may want to move a little bit faster. So if you're one that moves a little...
Alright, so let's try to find the other guy. Forgot what the fuck dude's name was. Who's another tattoo cat? Let's go to history. Right here. That's the one I was looking for.
To answer this question for the right job. Now, not only are we...
So this is going to explain our cartridge breakdown and what each cartridge does. And we have... I'm going to tilt this camera down so you can see what we have here. So, well, that's my genitals. Doesn't tilt far enough. Alright. Alright. Alright, so these are cartridges, right? And those cartridges actually have numbers on them. Trying to get this to focus, right? So these numbers are going to be explained in this video. I watched it last night. I think it's a really good video for others to watch that don't know about this stuff. Like I said, we're learning this together, so let's take a look.
Hey everyone, welcome to this video, and today's video is all about giving you the confidence to select the right needle for the right job. Now, not only are we going to be taking an in-depth look at needles, I'm also going to be sharing with you my personal needle preferences for when I'm tattooing, and I'm also going to be showing you a massive mistake which loads of people make, especially when they first get into tattooing when choosing needles. Now, to see if this video has made sense to you, I'll put a little quiz together at the end of it, so see if you can answer those questions before I actually give you the answer. If you do get them right, drop your comments in the box below to let me know. As always guys, to get the most out of this video, I strongly advise that you don't skip any part of it. Just set 10 minutes aside and watch it in its entirety. With all that said guys, let's not waste any more time and get straight into it. Okay guys, so let's start with the absolute basics before we get into the juicy stuff and quickly explain what all the numbers mean on the needle package, and also take a look at exactly what bug pins, double zeros and standard needle gauges are, as well as explain what the taper is. So on any self-respecting needle package and any needle that's actually worth using, you will see what looks like some random numbers and letters. In this example we have 1207RL. This will be exactly the same across the board for standard needles and needle cartridges. So let's start with the 12. This is the gauge of the needle, meaning the size of the diameter across the needle's thickest point. By the thickest point I mean the part just before where the needle starts to get thinner and ground down to a point. Now 12s are considered the standard gauge in the tattoo industry, and as well as being called 12s, they're also often called 0.35s, this number being 0.35 millimeters. So now we know what the 12 is, let's look at the next number, the 07. This number simply means how many needles there are in this configuration. So in this example we know there's 7 needles in this grouping. And finally the RL means round liner, so this tells us how the needles have been arranged. So in this example, with being a 7 round liner, the needles will be arranged in a very similar pattern to this. So far super simple stuff. 12, 7, RL tells us you've got a standard 12 gauge needle, there's 7 of them and they're arranged in a circular pattern to form a liner. Now people often get confused as soon as they move away from the standard 12 gauge and start getting into 10s and 8s. So in this example, again, the first numbers are the gauge size of the needle. Now 10s are also known as 0.3s, which means the needle has a gauge of 0.3 millimeters in diameter across its thickest point. And finally, the 8 gauge needles, also known as 0.25s, have an even smaller diameter of 0.25 millimeters across the thickest part of the needle. So here's the thing that confuses so many people. They hear the term bug pin being thrown around the internet. Now needles with an 8 gauge or a 0.25 are considered bug pins. Now if you buy bug pins from your tattoo supplier online, you will almost certainly be delivered 8 gauge needles. Now the confusion comes when people ask a tattooist what needles he or she is using, and if they're not using standard 12s, they'll most likely tell you that they're using bug pins. They're probably not using bug pins but actually using 10s or 0.3s. I don't think tattooists do this to deceive people, but it's more of a throwaway comment to say I'm using bug pins if you're using anything other than standard 12 gauge needles. But I find more often than not, when tattooists are using bug pins, they're actually using 10s or 0.3s. Just to add a little bit more sprinkle of confusion to this, a 10 gauge or a 0.3 are also commonly known as double zeros. The reason double zeros are so popular is because they cause less trauma to the skin than a standard 12 gauge needle, but they also provide better ink flow than the 8 gauge needles or the bug pins. So just a super random fact for you here guys, bug pin needles get their name from the tiny pins used to mount bugs in display cases. So all that's left to explore now is the needle taper. Well, the taper is the measurement from where the needle starts to get ground down from its thickest point and tapers to the very end of the tip. Some needles have really long tapers, some have really short tapers. They usually range from around 2mm to 5mm and even longer in some cases. Generally speaking, what I personally find is that a shorter taper is better for lining and a longer taper is better for shading, but this is by no means a rule, and some tattooers actually say the complete opposite works for them. But like I always say about tattooing, it's very much down to personal preference, and what might work really well for one person might not work for the next. So that's all the basics out of the way. So in this next section, let's take a look at some common figurations, much down to tattooers and in some cases they usually range from the tip. So all that's left to explore now is the needle taper. Well, the taper is the measurement from where the needle starts to get ground down from its thickest point and tapers to the very end of the tip. Some needles have really long tapers, some have really short tapers. They usually range from around 2mm to 5mm and even longer in some cases. Generally speaking, what I personally find is that a shorter taper is better for lining and a longer taper is better for shading. But
Alright, so sorry guys, I had to turn my mic up. Alright. So what I'm realizing is that with these cartridges, it doesn't show the taper. It is very limited, but I fucking forgot. Oh, I was gonna try to grab my box to look at the millimeters, but I threw it away. So, this is something that's important. I was gonna talk about it, but I don't have my box, so.
this is by no means a rule, and some tattooers actually say the complete opposite works for them. But like I always say about tattooing, it's very much down to personal preference, and what might work really well for one person might not work for the next. So that's all the basics out of the way. So in this next section, let's take a look at some common figurations. So let's take a look at the most commonly used needle configurations. Well, I think it's pretty safe to say the round liner is the most commonly used needle in the tattoo industry. Obviously ideal for lining big bold lines, little delicate lines, script, dot work, just to name a few. Next we have the mag. The standard mag or curved mag both have pros and cons. The standard mag can be used for shading, colour packing. Now the pros to using a standard mag is the fact it's relatively easy to angle on its side to create a really thin line. Now this can be done with a curved mag, but it's not quite as easy as it is with the standard one. Pros to a curved mag is that they tend to give a softer effect on the shade, and because of the way that they're shaped, they're less traumatic to the skin. Next we have round shaders, which are great for shading small areas and also colour packing. Just a little tip with these, some people think because the way the needles are arranged it will give a bolder, thicker line if you use these to line with, but what actually happens if you line with these is you get a line that has no definition and lacks a nice solid edge. Next we have a flat shader. These are used for shading and are arranged with a single row of needles. Personally I don't use these because I feel they tend to slice the skin like a razor if you're not too careful. The advantage to these is that they're super easy to angle them and to get a straight edge. The type of configuration is more popular with SPMU, semi-permanent makeup artists, particularly for doing like eyebrow strokes. One of my artists actually uses these flats and really likes them, gets on really well with them, gets good results. So I'm not saying don't use these, I'm just saying personally I don't use them myself. So here are the most common configurations covered. So in this next section I'm going to show you some examples of how to select the right needle for the right job. I'm also going to show you some of my personal needle preferences differences, and also a huge mistake that loads of tattooists make when they first start to use different needles. Okay guys, so in this example we've got a really simple symbol which I want to tattoo. On the left I've got my needle choices. So to line this tattoo I'd most likely choose an 11 round liner. This will give me a nice strong black outline. So now I want to pack the symbol with solid colour. So I'll most likely choose a 009 curve mag. As I get to the tighter areas of the tattoo, I find my mag is too wide, so I need to change either my needle or my technique. And this brings us to the mistake that a lot of people make. Because the needles are labelled as liners or shaders, so the tattooist thinks they can only use a liner for lining and a shader for shading or colour packing. And this is absolutely not the case. So what I've always said to my apprentices.
So remember how in the last video I told you I made note that Homeboy was floating his needle and he was guiding with his fingers. I can't remember, but I think this is gonna explain how you can utilize those other needles with just your hand. It just takes time and practice.
Is this. Treat the needles as different sized paintbrushes. Don't look at them as needles. Certainly don't look at them as labels like liners and shaders. Look at them and ask yourself which size needle can most efficiently do the job. So in this really tight corner, I could drop to a 5 round liner and pack the colour in with it. Now I know I'm using a liner to pack colour, but it doesn't matter. All I'm doing is selecting a needle which is the right size, small enough to fit in the small gap. So in this next example I have a realism portrait and I'm wanting to add some subtle flicks of hair in the eyebrows, and I feel like even if I use a 3 round liner this could still be too much of a thick line. With most realism tattoos you want to try and avoid lines as such and replace them with more subtle soft shades, because in real life people are not made up of lines but rather a collection of contrasting shadows. So to do the eyebrow I'd use a 007 curved mag. And I'd angle it on the corner so only one needle is actually making contact with the skin, so I can achieve a super soft thin shade. Now a lot of tattooists will set out a load of different needle configurations and sizes, especially if they're doing a large piece like something like a realism portrait, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with this. I've seen tattooists doing portraits in the past and literally using 8 different size liners and mags. For me personally, I'm at the other end of this scale, and usually when I do a portrait I'll use a maximum of 3 different needles. I usually use a 005 round liner, a 009 round liner and a 0011 curved mag. And again, there's absolutely nothing wrong with doing it this way either. I think the key point in all of this when choosing what needles you use is to choose what needles that you need to complete the job well. So whether you're using 20 different needles or 2, as long as the tattoo is completed successfully, then the job is done. Nobody looks at a finished tattoo and says, wow, cool tattoo, I can see the tattooist used 10 different needles for that job. It just doesn't work like that. So my point is, there's no right or wrong answer as to how many needles you should use, just as many as it takes to successfully complete the job, and don't overthink it. So now we're clued up with needle types, sizes and types of jobs each needle can perform. In this next section I've got a little quiz for you to see if you can pick the right needle for the right job. Okay guys, it's quiz time. There's going to be 2 examples here, and each example you get right, you're going to bag yourself 10 Jono points. So here's example 1, and to the left of the screen we've got our available needles. This is a simple swirly script. It's got different line weights throughout the tattoo. So which needle or needles might you use for this tattoo? Well, for me personally, I disregard the 13 round liner straight away because it just seems way too big of a needle for this type of job. I'd also disregard the mags because I just don't
10-7 RL.
see the need to use these for this sort of tattoo. So personally, if I was going to do this tattoo, I'd probably just go for the 007 round liner. This will give me a nice bold line. It's thin enough to achieve the finer parts of the tattoo, and I could also use the same needle to line either side of the thicker parts and then do tight circles to pack the black in the middle. So one answer to the question is just 7 round liner. Another way you could do this tattoo is to use the standard 12 gauge 3 round liner for the small part and a 009 round liner for the thicker parts. So another answer to this question could be a 3 round liner and a 9 round liner. So you can start to see now that there's not just one way to tackle a tattoo as long as the end result is good. So now let's look at something a little trickier. Example 2 is a realism portrait. Now with any tattoo, I look over the elements of the tattoo and pre-select the needles before I even put the stencil on the skin, because I've already mapped out in my mind exactly what needles I'll be using on each particular part of the tattoo. So out of the needles on the left of the screen, which ones would you select for this tattoo? Now for me personally, I'd use a 005 round liner for the tight areas like around the pupils and the eyes. I'd also use a 009 round liner, and I'd use it as a shader to sculpt and reinforce things like the shadows immediately under the eyelids and down the clothes. And finally, I'd use a 0011 curved mag for all the shade in the face and the hair. Now that's my personal preference. If you said you'd use all of the needles on the left, it still would be the right answer. So hopefully this video has made things a lot more clearer for you and give you
if I do not find somebody soon.
Alright guys, so I'm going to put us in to be right back. Sorry, keep on muting it because I'm using my speakers instead of my headset. I'm going to put us in be right back. I'm going to clean this right here. I'm going to get everything put back over in the setup. And then we're going to just start practicing tattooing lines. Yeah. Where's my fucking mouse? Because this fucking computer is retarded. What's up, YouTube? Alright, so we're back. Music's a lot lower, and I'm going to be talking a lot louder. Also, you should be able to see me without my stand being in my way, because I am actually trying to make sure that you guys can hear me. So, my stand is a little bit in my way, but we're good. So, I know that was a problem yesterday, is being able to hear me. Music should be low enough to where it's not overpowering. But I'm going to tune into the stream real quick just to hear that. But we're good. So, I know that was a problem yesterday, is being able to hear me. Music should be low enough to where it's not overpowering. But I'm going to tune into the stream real quick just to hear that. Alright, chat, so it does sound good, but I am going to bring the music down just a smidge bit, because alright, so I'm going to grab some water real quick and wash my hands. Then I'll come in here, glove up, and then set everything up, and we'll start running some lines. Let's see here. I'm just not quite as bright as I'd like it to be right there. There we go. That's a lot better, actually. Alright. Problem is, when I'm here, there will be a shadow, but it looks like you can see it pretty well, so. I'm having so much fun, man. I hope you guys really enjoy doing this, because I'm really having fun doing this. I like learning things, and I like working through things, and I like helping teach people. So, yeah, good times. I'm not teaching anyone, but this will be a tutorial to somebody at some point. Fuck a fan on. Alright, so fans are on. I'll turn that just a little bit, because all that airflow. Alright. Get some water, and I'll be right back. Shelby. Alright, so let's get into it. Alright. So I'm sitting in a little bit of a weird position. I'm at the corner of the table right here, so I have a leg stopping me from getting any closer. But I'm doing this on purpose because most tattoo artists are going to be straddling that. Not that I'm a tattoo artist, but practice the right way, right? It's that kind of thing. Okay. I'm gonna downsize that stuff a little bit. I realize my screen's still a little bit big. Fuck. I moved all my stuff over here so that way I didn't have to get up. I'm just gonna move my guy up here. Fill that dead space. There we go. Ah, look at that. Alright. Okay, it's like the music should be playing. If I was to be honest, I'd probably put my headphones in and, you know, rock out to my shit. But we don't need to do all that. I mean, I could put on Upchurch. Should we put on Upchurch? We're going to put on some Upchurch. I'm going to turn the playlist off and we're going to listen to Upchurch. Because Upchurch be slapping. Upchurch makes me happy too. God damn it. That's not what I wanted to do.
Upchurch.
Yeah. Upchurch.
Pulling up 6 figures when I'm tagged on the trunk. I'm living like a boss, I don't even sell drugs. But I be on the beach
With the Georgia Peaches. Sold out arenas. Southside Stunner. Yeah. This shit. Shade like I never get summer. Alright, so I'm definitely not telling anyone to do what I'm doing right now. But toilet paper doesn't work to wipe very well. So we're going to start up here at the top. We'll always do that. Do a little wipey wipe right there, right? So we're stopping right here. I'll back this up a little bit so you guys can see that. Right here. Fuck it, we're just gonna. What the fuck? It's got tons of Vaseline on the back of my camera. Oh well, fucking happens. I ain't a rolling stone. That better than that. Star ain't a chilling stone. So what I'm doing today is I'm doing small lines. So, didn't even touch it. Let's do this again. Alright, so let's try to get that in one pass. Alright, so I just ran 3 dots as well. I was at 7-8 voltage with lines. So let's take a look. Clean it up, take a look at the back. Alright. Circles aren't too bad. I need to get a stencil though. Because trying to draw straight lines, not working. Now, I'm gonna actually just do something. I'm just gonna freehand something. See if I can make it work. So I kind of have like some inclination for drawing, but not that great, but this is gonna be a rough one because let's see what this. Lighting is a motherfucker, that's for sure. better. I think I need to hang my nail at the back. Ooh, a little bit better. Starting to hang it out there a little more, I see. Fuck that one up. Keeps on coming up right there. Do some more circles. Let's take a look at those circles.
Corner store smells like palm malls. The cashier wears the same overalls.
Thanks, babe.
The cops wash the blood off their hands with the moonshine they took from the moonlight. Cars burn into the dark sky. No leaves, nobody knows why. Dead bodies in the trees where I get my soul.
I don't give a fuck what anyone has to say. Just starting out.
Dead end roads lead to the small trails. Headstones.
For just starting, I'm really stoked with how this is turning out so far. Because my biggest goal with watching the videos was don't create trauma. Don't tear this. Like, that means you're going too slow, you're going too deep. A lot of factors, right? So I'm going a little bit slower and creating lighter lines and then doing like 2 or 3 passes on it. Like one, and then come back, one. Those last 2 are a little bit faster just to set some extra ink in there, right? Because I already broke the skin, so now I'm just kind of packing it. That's what I'm understanding. I don't know, and I don't know if that's correct or not, but it seems to work. And I'll show you. I'll do a line, and I'll do 2 lines, and then I'll do 3 lines. Well, I'll do 1 line, 1 pass, another line with 2 passes, and then a third line with 3 passes, and I'll do it with the way I just described. Oh, turn on. I think I get used to it. Alright, so we're going to go right here for those. So we're going to go 1 line. Okay, that's 1 line. I'm going to come over here. 1 line. That line got 2 passes. So this third line is going to be 1 line with 3 passes. Alright, let's take a look at them. Let's see the difference. So I just adjusted the hang the of the needle. So this one on the left, the far side here, one pass. The second one had one pass. It had two passes on it, and this third one had three passes. Okay. So let's take a look at the back, and we have no trauma. All right, didn't blow through. And even on these back ones, like look, that one's the darkest. These are all dark, right? But they're not through. They're just shades, right? So circles are a little interesting. That's for sure. I'm gonna bump the gun to 8. See what that does. There is a part of me that really wants to just put a line on my skin, but I shouldn't do it. I know I shouldn't do it, so I'm not going to do it. But the child in me is like, do it. Fucking love tattoos. Yeah, that looks like a fucking tattoo, damn that, doesn't it? Ah! Get more ink in my little my cap. Alright, so that was our first pass yesterday. So today, this is going to be our last pass with a liner, and then I'm going to go to the shader. Rolling Stone. Alright, so now we're going to switch it up. Shooting a 7 round mag. What does that mean? It means we have 4 on the bottom, 3 on the top, and a kind of straight with a curve. I'm gonna get some more ink. We're gonna throw a fat line. God damn it, stop dripping everywhere. Let's see what that did. Slowly starting to figure this out, I think. I'm gonna put that gun, the other cartridge back on, because I'm gonna try something. If it's as simple as just having the confidence to do as you would on skin, but it's just with a tattoo gun, then that means just draw. And I'm gonna just give it a fucking shot. Not that I mean, obviously it's gonna be difficult. What the fuck is on here? Let's see if I can sketch some shit. I'm just gonna sketch a face. fucking day. Not too bad. So the underneath was supposed to be like I was trying to shade a goatee and create a shape. I stopped. That's pretty dope though. I mean, it's something to start with. So I think I'm gonna call it for today. Did a nice little tutorial, watched some videos, we threw some ink down. Man, I had a good time. So I'm gonna do some other things today, and then I will be back on later, possibly. We'll see. So, love you all. Be kind. You never know what someone's going through, and I will catch you guys later. You.